Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. And welcome to a live edition of the Everton Rant Show. And I'm here today with Paul. Paul, how are you?
I'm not bad, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. We're getting back into a bit. I don't think there was as much ranting last time as there is probably going to be this time. I thought we were a lot more calm last time, but I think there's probably a bit more to talk about now in terms of negativity. Getting into the start of it, what were your thoughts on the City game, and did anything stick out performance-wise?
No, not particularly. I mean, it was encouraging that even without our best player, Grealish, we were able to give what I think is the best team in the league. I know they're not top of the league at the moment, but I still think City on the day are definitely the best side in the Premier League. We were able to stay with them, really, and give them a game for at least an hour. It's just Haaland's like a cheat code, isn't he? And then once the damn wall breaks, there's nothing you can do. I can't remember the last time City went ahead in a game, especially in the second half, and didn't go on and win the game. I'm sure I saw a crazy stat on Sky a couple of weeks ago, like under Guardiola, whenever they took the lead in a game from after half time at home, it's like there's been like one occasion where they haven't gone on and won. So yeah, when Haaland got the breakthrough for them, that tower and header, it just kind of felt like, oh, this game's kind of gone now. 1-0 against City when you haven't really got much up front, which Everton didn't. It just kind of felt like the only way we were going to get a goal was maybe off a fluke set piece or something. So you watch the game in hope rather than just in expectation. So there was a couple of players who maybe didn't have the best days, but I don't think anyone was so bad that it's worth kind of digging them out for.
Yeah, I feel a little bit different. I think there's one player, but I don't want to dig on him too much because I think the entire fan base has done it now. But to get out of the positives, I thought Ndiaye was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was one of those where it was every time he touched the ball, he was getting past the City player. He was, there was that one where he gets it in our own box and dribbles through three of them like they're nothing. And, you've got big Man City pages going, why can't we tackle this bloke and stuff like that. But again, I think it's one of those where I think he's always been able to do that. And I think he does that every game. But now, because it's on the big stage against one of the biggest teams in the country, people are starting to realise, oh, this bloke's really good. And then shocker, he has a good game.
Other teams now, yeah.
Yeah, now suddenly other teams want to sign him. All of a sudden, how the rumour mill works. It happens like that every season. There's one or two Everton players that'll have a really good run, and then suddenly this team, and this team wants to sign them. I think the defending for Haaland's goals could have been a little better. I think he's a player you have to man mark, but at the end of the day, he is the best centre forward in the league. I still think he beats even Tarkowski in the air. Probably still gets those 2 goals in the end. So I don't want to, dig him out too much. I think the first half was really promising, to be honest. And I think to get into the point we're going to talk about here, I think another Beto performance where it's not the best. I will say the first chance looked so much worse the first time. And then I think when you watch it a little bit again, he still should be scoring that, I think. But he's at full stretch. He's not able to get to the ball. But I think it's one of those where it's just, it's one of those, isn't it, where it's annoying because if that's a good striker, he scores there. He probably scores both the chances Beto gets. So it's one of those where is it? But unfortunately, the backup just doesn't seem to have adjusted to Premier League football yet. Again, more of a project player. We have signed him because he's young. But what would you do, besides the obvious of can we get a striker in January? Of course, I think there's priorities before that. I think we need to sign a right back first. But besides signing a striker in January, what would you do now? Is it stick to this weird coin flip? Because that's what it feels like to me. It feels like a coin flip before a game.
No, that's not helping anybody. Pick a striker and go with them. Have a defined first choice and a definite second choice. Giving them 45 minutes each and starting one in 1 week and then the next one the next week. That's not helping anybody. It doesn't help the players' mental health, does it? Especially that younger lad who's probably arrived in a new country for the first time and I don't know what his support system's like, but he must be thinking to himself, does this manager like me? Does he not like me? Do the fans like me? Do the fans think I'm crap? What do my teammates think of me? Do my teammates think I'm crap and that I'm a waste of money? Did I make a mistake coming here? Should I have just stayed at Villarreal? no, Moyes has disappointed me so far in his handling of the striker situation. It's probably the only massive criticism I've had of him since he's come back. Really, I don't think he's handled this well. And now I know you want better options than Beto and some kid who's just come to the Premier League for the first time in Tierney Barry. But at the end of the day, I always think back to that quote Marcel Brands said to, I think it was Moisey Ken's mum, when Moisey Ken came over to sign his contract for Everton. He said to her, "We'll take care of your son. We're not just bringing him here to treat him just as an asset. Like, if he's not scoring, then we're just going to leave him out in the cold. We don't care what he does." Young players like that, if you want to get the best out of them in this day and age, it seems like you need to put an arm around them and make them kind of feel like they're good enough and that they belong here, and that we're not expecting instantaneous results from you. So I feel like we haven't taken care of Barry very well, and hopefully it's just a bit of a false start, just a blip in the road for him, and he ends up kicking on for us. And talking about Beto's just Beto. When you're saying, "Oh well, he's disappointed me, he's done this," like, did you think Beto was going to have a worldie against Manchester City's defence? Because I certainly didn't. Any goal Beto scores against Manchester City is likely just him being in the right place at the right time. It's not going to be because he's going to be making something out of nothing. So you can't be disappointed if you don't expect one. So Beto's just Beto. He's just a big lump of a striker who might occupy a defender who's not got the best concentration and isn't experienced. Like City's players are definitely not that. They're very experienced and they've just coached to within an inch of their life by Pep Guardiola. So only chance Beto was going to get any success would just be if he had an absolute world-class ball to run onto, or if the ball hits him off the arse and went in the goal. So I'm not going to be too hard on Beto because I wasn't expecting some sort of prime Lukaku performance, really. But he's got to make up his mind, David Moyes, who he's going to play with going forward. That doesn't mean you just start one every single game, no matter what, and you always bring the other one off the bench. You can interchange them, but giving them 45 minutes here and there and constantly chopping them week after week after week's not doing either one of them any good, really. It's not helping Barry's development. It's not really helping Beto's development either. I know Beto's 26, 27 now, but Beto at times looks like a young player and behaves like a young player, a player who's still quite naive at times. So you're not really helping any of them. You've got to give them minutes, but you've also got to structure their careers very well, and it just feels like we're not managing it at the moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to have a look at Barry here. He's not played 90 minutes once.
Well,
and most
again,
of them is
for all
45.
the stick the lad's getting, people who were already writing them off and calling them crap and saying, "Oh, what a waste of money," and send them back to Spain. For all the people who are doing that, throw that stat at them. He's not completed 90 minutes once. And all right, I know he's not set the world alight in any performance. You can't pick out one game he's out and you think, "Oh yeah, he was really good there today." But as I go back to what I've said before, what's the lad's head like? What he must be thinking to himself, what's going on here? I get picked to play and then I get dragged off at half time and I get dragged off after 60 minutes. Like, what do the coaches think of me? To be teammates? Are they whispering about me behind their hands? I'd be doing that if I was him. I'd be thinking, what have I actually signed up for here? Like, what was the plan?
Yeah, I really like Barry personally, and I've stuck by it. I think the cameos he's made, the only one I've heard really negative things about is the Wolves game, but I didn't watch that. It was where a lot of people said he was absolutely terrible, but again,
he wasn't good against Crystal Palace in the game he started, where he did get dragged off at half time. He had a really poor day that day, but I still thought it was harsh to get dragged off the way he did. I didn't get any support. There was only one. He wasn't really in the Crystal Palace game, but there was only one instance where I thought, "Oh my God, he's really, he's had a stinker there." I think he got a really good ball to run through on goal on, and his first touch let him down, and he just got ahead of him and completely snuffed it out. And that was the only kind of like, oh, head in hands type moment. But other than that, there's been a few games where Barry's not sort of grabbed it by the scruff of the neck. But again, he's 21. He's only just arrived. He's a baby. He's filling out. Give him time.
Yeah, that's it exactly. He's played I think it's one season of top level football.
And I'll throw this in as well.
Last season.
A lot of other teams that sign strikers sort of in that mould, sort of, early 20s project player who's maybe has a good season or two in a lesser league. A lot of those teams, like your Tottenhams and your Liverpools and your Man Uniteds, sometimes they usually have European football to play. So they've got a Europa League or a Europa Conference League where they can start him in that and he can sort of get his head down a little bit more. Barry hasn't got that, and he hasn't even got the League Cup, because we went out of that in the first round. So every game Barry's going to play between now and January is going to be Premier League football against Premier League opposition. So it's not even like he's got some kind of lesser teams from Eastern Europe or somewhere or Scandinavia that you can throw him in against and right, let's just see if he can get a goal or two on a Thursday night, and that will hopefully raise his confidence and he'll start scoring in the league in the second half of the season. We're not going to see the best of Thierry Barry, I think, until next year at the earliest.
Yeah, I think exactly that. And I mean, like you mentioned with the full 90 thing, he's played 8 matches in the Premier League. So you'd expect a decent amount of minutes in 8 matches, 227. That's not even 3 matches worth of game time. And so
what does that even out as? 227 over 8 games? Is that like
it's about
25 minutes a game?
Yeah, exactly. It's about 25 minutes a game. What is the lad genuinely meant to do? I think it is that simple. You know what? Is he meant to score? Like, I feel like it is obvious the most important thing for a striker is goals. But if you're 15 minutes and you've got to have, I think it's my big problem with Moyes, and I think we say it a lot, is a player has to probably 5-10 minutes to get into a game to get the feeling, and then if you're only on for 15, you've then only got 5-10 minutes when you're in the game to do something. And he's 23, like I said. He's not one of these strikers where they're experienced in coming off the bench. Those type of strikers who are used to that can go, yeah, I'm going to come on, I'm ready straight away. He might not be. And to be honest, I've got the stats up here, and I know some people don't like stats. A lot of the stats on his per 90 stuff look promising. They look like if he was given a chance, he was getting. And I think his best strength is his ability in the air, and we don't play it in the air a lot, do we? If I've got it here, he's winning 4.2 aerial duels per 90. That's top 10% of all strikers in Europe. So it's, it's clear what his strength is, because it was the same thing last season. And I understand we can't change our entire game plan, which is working decently well. I think we're doing all right. We're not horrendous in the league. We're not amazing. We're about where I think reasonable fans expected.
Exactly. And you've got to remember as well that the team has changed so much. So there's loads of little, relationships within the starting 11 and around the squad that haven't developed yet. The best Everton teams under David Moyes were settled 11s where 8 or 9 players played virtually every week. So they formed little partnerships. Baines and Pienaar's the most famous one. You had Cahill and I think Jelavic had a little one for a couple of months, and Cahill and Marcus Bent, and you had Lukaku and Ross Barkley was another team, and the centre-back partnerships of Distan and Jagielka, and Distan and Lescott before that, and in midfield it was always Osman and someone next to him, but it was Darren Gibson when he had a little year solidly of being in the team. Look at the Everton team at the moment. You've got Ndiaye, who's been pushed out onto the right. He didn't play a game, I think, on the right for us all last season. You've got Grealish, who's brand new and coming into the team and is so different to what we already had. He's a player who actually looks to take players on, dribble and win free kicks. You've got James Garner, who is 1 week he's in right back, the next week he's in centre mid. So he's moving it about. You've got the defence, which was Branthwaite and Tarkowski virtually all last season, and all of this season because of the injury, it's been Keane and Tarkowski. You've got Michaelenko, who has just come back into the side from an injury. He missed the first couple of weeks. So there's just been so many changes in the starting 11. There's been no time for anyone to actually settle and develop some chemistry with one another. So I'm not surprised there's 1 or 2 players who aren't showing the best of themselves at the minute. And sadly, it looks like it's the strikes. But I'm convinced even Beto, as limited as he is, Beto, if he gets enough appearances over the course of the season, will get 7, 8 or 9 goals. He managed it last season in a team that didn't have Jack Grealish in it. So he stays fit all of this season. Surely he's going to manage the same numbers again with Jack Grealish and with Ndiaye behind him, supplying him, and other players that we've got.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I think as well, I think you've summed it up perfectly. How did Baines and Pienaar get that connection? Consecutive playing together. It's simple as that. I think, is it one where if Barry starts a few games, Grealish is going to start going, right, I know he likes it at the back post on his head. When I get in this position, is it going to be, and Ndiaye knows he likes it low on his right foot, blah, blah, blah. You only get that stuff with, obviously, training and then playing in actual matches together. I think a lot of people don't realise it's still so early on in the season. And it looks like a lot of people are talking like we're in crisis again. I don't know if it's just because everyone's so used to it, but it's like we're in a perfect position. It's pretty obvious we're not going to get even close to relegated. And I think it's one of those where, yeah, the striker situation's not great, but what were people expecting from Barry going into the season?
Do you want to go back to having Neil Maupay up front? Do you want to go back to playing Damari Gray as a centre forward? Do you want to go back to having Calvert-Lewin, who, for all the attributes he had to his game, has a ridiculously underperforming XG? He just missed so many chance after chance after chance. I don't want to go back to that personally. So when Thierry Barry starts missing chances and has a ridiculously underperforming XG, that's when I'll start really thinking, what have we landed ourselves with here?
Yeah, well, that's it, and some people are like, I see a lot of we should have kept Calvert-Lewin. He's had 10 big chances for Leeds and missed 9 of them.
Even if you're not a Calvert-Lewin sort of detractor, which I don't consider myself one, I wasn't enamored with him, but I wasn't desperate to keep him either. Calvert-Lewin wanted stupid money. The reason Calvert-Lewin's not at Everton is because Calvert-Lewin chose not to stay at Everton. He had a contract on the table, probably the best contract he'd ever get offered in his life, and he turned it down because he thought he'd go get himself a tidy move somewhere in Europe for 100 grand a week plus. And look what happened. He fell flat on his face, and now he's at Leeds playing for them. And I'm sure if you'd said to Calvert-Lewin back in March, April time, when his contract was winding down, right, you've got 2 options. You can either sign that contract that Everton have offered you, or you can sign for Leeds and play for them next season in the summer for, I don't know what his contract is at Leeds, but I bet you it's not better than the one Everton offered him. So I'm sure if Calvert-Lewin, he'll never admit this, but I'm sure if Calvert-Lewin could rewind the clock 6 months and you told him what his future could be, I'm sure he'd bite your hands off for that contract we offered him now. So even if you've got no problem with Calvert-Lewin and you liked him, which I know certain fans did, the reason he's not at Everton is because he thought he could do better than Everton, and he's fell flat on his face, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those where with Barry, he's 23, which is as young as a lot of us expect. He has just turned 23, literally yesterday. But it's one of those where someone said, I saw a Palace fan say, ironically, we didn't sign Mateta until he was 24, and look how bad he was for the first few years. All it takes is the right manager, the right system, blah, 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 the right situation. It's one of those where all you have to do is look at one thing. One thing can change everything. It could literally just be as simple as he gets used to living in the city. It could be something that simple. And people are shocked by the possibility of that. I think the problem is now is I think a lot of fans, and understandably, just expect players to be amazing straight away. Because it's not like let me use the Vert situation at Liverpool right now. It's not like we paid 100 million for Barry. We've paid a decent bit of money, yeah, but at the end of the day, he's been given 25 minutes a game. Clearly isn't trusted by the manager, and like you said, that is going to impact you. And what's the lad expected to do? And I understand Moyes starting Beto. Beto did really well for him in the second half of last season. But if you're only going to give Barry 15 minutes a game, what are you expecting about it? What are you expecting him to do? It's one of those things where I don't understand what it is. It's like, I don't want to waffle on, but it's just, I really don't understand what fans expect. Who else could we have signed to play up front for us? Would you have rather us signed a 38-year-old Jamie Vardy who's gone to Italy and is absolutely crapping it right now? Would you rather?
Or even the signings who have got profile, the strikers who people have seen on the telly and they've done well once they come to this league and they do nothing. Who's that German striker who played for Dortmund who had a brilliant Euros? Füllkrug, yeah. He went to West Ham and everyone was like, oh, I can't believe West Ham have got him. Why couldn't Everton go in and get a big, strapping centre forward like that who's just, had a really good tournament? What's Füllkrug done at West Ham? He came in with a lot more expectation on him and a lot more hype than Thierry Barry has to the Premier League, and he's done next to nothing from what I can see.
Yeah.
Now maybe that's not all his fault. Maybe I'm not going to pretend like I've watched every single game Füllkrug's played for West Ham, but I've seldom remembered ever hearing about him since he signed there. I don't remember ever seeing any clips of him on Twitter scoring a great goal or West Ham fans raving about him, saying what a brilliant signing he is and how happy they are he's there. But there's a lot of Everton fans who at the time going mad saying, why can't Everton go out and get a big striker like that, a striker who sell shirts and a striker who's played in the Champions League for a sexy foreign club. Sometimes you've just got to take what you can, and sometimes the signings that you expect the least of will deliver the most. Now, I don't know for a fact Barry's going to come good. He might not. Committee didn't come good, did he? And thankfully, we managed to palm Committee off to Rangers and get our money back, really. But you can't just write a player off when it's been given so few opportunities in a team that's very unsettled, with a manager that doesn't really look as if he knows fully what his best 11 is and what 11 he wants to go with the foreseeable future, because he has chopped and changed a bit more. He's a bit too much for my liking. So we'll just see. I'm not going to judge Thierry Barry until probably at least a year from now, because I'll be so disappointed if he goes the way of Moisey Ken, when there's a player who clearly has a lot of ability and all the coaching staff can see it. Just the fans and the coaching staff themselves just don't have any patience with him and ends up palming him off, and he ends up going banging goals in for somewhere else. And we think, oh, why didn't we just show a bit more nuance with him? Why don't we just show a bit more patience? He could be scoring goals for us now. You'd think we'd learned our lesson, but seemingly we haven't.
Yeah, I think Moise Keane's the perfect example, because even after us, crap for a few years at Juventus, it's the thing I've mentioned about going to the right place. Goes to Fiorentina, bang, 20 goals in the league for him. And then all of a sudden it's, he's back. But again, Fulkrug's a good example. West Ham paid the same we paid for Barry.
How many goals, can you get that up? How many goals has Fulkrug scored for West Ham? He's been there, 2 years?
Yeah, I can get that up if you give me a sec.
I don't think he has.
Less than 5. I can tell you it's 100% less than 5.
It's not many. You know what I mean?
So yeah.
Now I know West Ham have had a lot of problems during that time. They've had manager changes and style changes and a lot of uncertainty and protests against the owners. But I'm sure if they signed this amazing striker who all their fans are raving about, if he was scoring goals left, right, and centre, I'm sure half their problems wouldn't be what they are.
He's got 3 in the league for West Ham.
In how many appearances?
That would be in 24.
So, okay, like I said, as I said before, I haven't seen every single game Fulkrug's played for West Ham. Maybe there's a good defence for him. But my point that I was making was, you go out and you sign these strikers who you think are just fully developed, they're ready-made, they're going to come in and make a difference straight away. You've seen them play for big clubs around Europe and in Euros and World Cups, and you think, right, that's the type of player who's going to take us to the level. We don't have to invest in him. He's not a project. He's going to come in and score goals straight away, and they don't. So you're just going to have to take what you can. The best chance Everton are going to have of signing an absolute world-class striker or anything close to a world-class striker is if we buy them young and we develop them. We're not going to sign a player who has got the world at his feet, because at this point in time, if you were a really, really good number 9, why on earth would you come to Everton? Because I can tell you, they're not asked about the stadium for number 9s. As much as people were pushing that in the summer, oh, Everton's a project and it's going to take off and they've got a new stadium. We learned that in the summer. Loads of players turned us down. It's like, I don't care that you're going to a stadium, the new stadium. I don't care that you've got David Moyes back as your manager. I don't care that you're looking to get into Europe in the next 4 or 5 years. I want to go to a club that's in Europe now, and I can go find a team that's got a boss stadium already. So anyway, I'm waffling.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're 12th in the league, which is about where I expect us to finish. I don't know what people expected. It's as simple as it is a project that is going to take a few years. If your project is a few years, you're obviously going to sign people who you think will be at their best in a few years. It's why we signed Tyler Dibling. It's why we've signed Thierry Barry. They think they're going to be key pieces in a team in 2-3 years' time. Completely understandable, by the way. It's like it's what I mean about the fan base. Sometimes everyone were buzzing when Barry came in. Everyone were buzzing when Dibling came in, and now they've had 3 or 4 bad performances at most, and all of a sudden they're never going to make it here. Oh no, and here we go, and stuff like that. It's like it's mental to me how we're not in a terrible situation. We're not going to get relegated. We look good when on the attack, which I think we look much better. We don't look as good in the defence, but that's because our best player in the entire team, besides Pickford's injured, and Grealish probably now. So we've got no right back. It's one of those where it's just, what do people expect? And I think to get onto the defenders on the Branthwaite injury, it looks like he is going to get surgery now.
He's had surgery. He posted on his Instagram a picture of himself in his hospital bed saying surgery went well. So, yeah, he's gone under the knife. Don't know how long he's going to go for, but I don't imagine we'll see him this side of Christmas.
No. So what would you do? Would you keep Tarkowski and Keane at centre-back?
That's the only option, really, isn't it? Because if we put O'Brien as a centre-back, who's going to go at right-back? It can't be Nathan Patterson. Nathan Patterson's nowhere near the level. Seamus Coleman, I don't think he's got 90 minutes in him anymore.
I think Garner would do well at right-back, but I think that'd be one where it's let's keep testing that Merlin role out first to see how he
that's if we put James Garner at right-back, I know he's looked steady at right-back when we put him there most occasions, but when you do that, you're leaving yourself a bit light in midfield because that Merlin role who's come in, it would be the same situation with Barry. BK, if we threw him in straight away and he didn't hit the ground running and he had a couple of wobbly performances, fans would get on his back then and his confidence would go, and then all of a sudden we have to take him out the team and we have to put Garner back in the centre mid and away from right back. So the moment, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I don't really think, for all the criticism I say of Michael Keane, I don't think Everton's defence is broke necessarily at the minute. I think they're doing well enough. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. Only move the defence around if we get another injury or if we start shipping goals, a lot of goals.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think we could sign Messi in his prime, and if he didn't score for 3 games, he'd be the worst player to ever live. I just think that's what the fan base is like. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think I like Rose from what I've seen so far. I think he looks like a tidy little player. He's very good on the ball for his size, and I think that's clearly obvious from when he's come on. He looks good in the air, which you'd hope so for how big he is. I think it is just he wants another Fellaini, doesn't he? Big guy who's a lot better on the ball than you'd expect. Can do well he wants Fellaini 2.0. And if he can be Fellaini 2.0, amazing for us because of how much Fellaini did for us. But yeah, I think keep it how it is now. See how things go. Keep testing the waters with Merlin Roll because it looks like Moyes sees him more as an attacking player. Or is it one of those where he just comes on wherever he's needed?
Yeah, there's no need to rush Rowe into the team, I don't think. There's going to be chances as the season progresses because you've got to remember the African Cup of Nations is coming. Ghana Gay is going to head off to that, and Senegal always tend to go quite far in those tournaments, if not win it. He's not going to be gone with Senegal for just 2 weeks and then he's back again. He'll probably be gone all month. Senegal, I think, have got the final or at least the semi-final of the last 3-4 editions of the AFCON. So we're basically going to have Ghana Gay not available for all of January, and that'll be when Merlin Rowe, when his time comes, you'd imagine. So I think he'll probably just be getting little cameos off the bench. We'll be using Merlin Rowe the way we're using Tyler Dibblin, where he's just coming off the bench for 10, 15 minutes here and there, or maybe he doesn't come off the bench at all. I think we'll see a lot of him in the second half of the season. I think there's no need to rush him in.
Yeah, I think that's the situation with Barry, Roll, and Dibbling, to be honest with you. I think it's one where I think any of the fans who expected Europe are mental, even at the start of the season. I think it's absolutely mental. The only chance we ever have of getting Europe is if something like last season happens, where somehow down to 9th or 10th gets Europe. It's the only way it'd ever happen.
Yeah, no, I'm not expecting that.
I think we'll finish 10th to 12th, maybe 9th if we're feeling excited. I think that's what it'll be, and I think that's good. That's massive progress on previous seasons.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily looking at it. My aim for this season, I'm not really necessarily looking at a position in the table. I mean, we'd all love to be back in the top half and pushing for Europe. Who wouldn't? But the last 2 seasons, when you don't factor in points deductions, we finished on 48 points last season and the season before that. So if we can get 50 plus points again, then that is clear progress, isn't it? And if you're going to get into near European football, you need to be getting in the high 50s, low 60s to get anywhere near European football. Anything less than 59 doesn't get you there. But if we can get anywhere over 50, that's a clear mandate that what we're doing is working and we need to carry it on. So I think that will probably be what David Moyes has been told to aim for this season. Not necessarily aiming at getting us a league position, but just get us over 50 points. And that's, clearly there's no chance you're going anywhere. You're not in a relegation battle at any stage. If you're on for 50 points, are you? Because if you're on for 50 points, then you're on the 30-point mark by February, aren't you? easily.
Yeah, well,
So
that's it exactly.
we'll never
45,
be
50
we won't be in a
points,
relegation battle, but
but
we're in that
40
little
points.
sort of boring part of the table where you're not really pushing for anything, but you're in no danger. But considering what we've been through the last 3-4 years, that's just welcome. That's a welcome change
I
for
think
us.
the Premier League's weird because I think genuinely anywhere from like 7th or 8th to 12th could be in any order. It's just a form thing.
It's a lot.
It's one of those, like you said, if in the second half of the season, Barry, Dibbling and Roll or a combination of those kick on, maybe we do end up finishing 8th because there won't be that many points between it. But I just I think it's just as simple as don't get your hopes up.
Don't go on a bad run like we've been on over the last few years. Don't go like a month without
4
winning
or
a
5
game.
games
Don't go 7 or 8 games without where you lose 5. Don't lose 4 or 5 on the spin, which is what we were doing under Lampard and Dyche and Benitez. We had some crazy runs. I think Benitez was on like 1 win in 14 when he got sacked. Lampard lost like 6 games out of 7 either side of the World Cup break. Dyche went through that mad run, didn't he? Where in the points deduction season where we didn't win a game for 4 months, and then we won. By the time he got sacked last season, we'd had like 3 wins out of 19, something like that. So just nothing like that, please. Do you know what I mean? Just if we're going to have streaky form, then don't have streaky form where you could just get really depressed where you lose 2 games and then you win 1 and then you lose another 3 and then you draw 2 and no, that's how fans get down. I'd rather win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game than lose 3, win 3, lose 3, win 3 again. Do you know what I mean? If you form spotty, then just don't have the wins too spread out.
Yeah, and I think probably enough about Everton for 5 or so minutes just to look at another situation that is kind of linked to Everton that's gone terribly in the Premier League. Nottingham Forest to have just hired Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche has somehow fluked himself into a Europa League job. Yeah,
it's a fluke. He's exactly what Nottingham Forest need for the next 12 months. Nottingham Forest are a huge club. They've got a really good team. They've just got an absolute mentalist owner who's just done a load of damage in the last couple of months. He fell out with a manager who was brilliant for them, forced him out, hired a really bad manager. Whether you like Ange Postecoglou as a person or not, his record in the Premier League is awful. He's lost like 30 of his last 50 Premier League games, so I don't know how he got the Nottingham Forest job. Sean Dyche deserved the Nottingham Forest job before he got it. Yeah. Certainly. So Dyche will keep Nottingham Forest up with his eyes closed. Yeah. He won't. He's going to have to do something that he's never shown previously, and that he certainly didn't show at Everton, which is that he's capable of building a team and kicking it on and doing more than just scraping by. If he can do that, then fair play to him. But there's nothing he did at Everton or Burnley that suggests to me that Nottingham Forest are going to want to still have him as their manager past this season. I think what was his contract? Was it 2.5 years? Was it 18 months?
They wanted a short one. I'm not 100% on it. But 2 years, 18 months.
It won't be. Yeah, so he won't have got himself a long deal. I'll be very surprised if he's just there to basically extinguish any fears of relegation. He'll have to do something very spectacular, I think, to be kept on past the summer. But I've always said Sean Dyche has got his niche. Whether he likes it or not, he's got his niche. He will go into a team that has gone off the rails a little bit. He'll tidy it up. He'll get them doing the basics right, and he'll grind out results, whether it's pretty on the eye or not. And sometimes that's just whether the club likes it or not. You've got to take your medicine. You've just got to start grinding out results, and Forest will do that, and then some. It reminds me a lot of when we hired Sam Allardyce, where you think, yeah, the team is in really bad form, and everyone's kind of losing their head a little bit. But are the problems really that deep? Is the team that bad? Are the cracks that massive? Or do they just need to take a breath and just get a result or two and it will suddenly feel a lot better? Because the best analogy I've ever heard when Everton went to Sam Allardyce that time was like bringing the fire engine to get your cat out of a tree. And that's what it feels like Nottingham Forest have kind of done here with Sean Dyche. They've rang the fire brigade to get a cat out of the tree. Yes, they've lost some games. Yes, they've had a disaster under Ange Postecoglou, but we're still only 8 games into the season. There's still 30 more games to go. They're not exactly like, oh my God, we need points right now. Do you know what I mean? We've only got a couple of weeks of the season left and we can't afford to drop any more. So there's a lot of managers who would have gone in and I think done all right for Forest. Well, Sean Dyche's got it, and I think he'll do exactly what they want him to. But whether he carries on past that, I don't know.
Yeah, he plays a similar style to football to Nuno. Just a worse version of Nuno all around, and that's not a bad thing. At the end of the day, the owners are nutter, got rid of a manager they should have never gotten rid of, and then did this, because I don't think Ange's a necessarily bad manager. I just think it's like,
I do.
It's like
I
when
think he's really poor.
They've just done the same thing we used to do, didn't they? Where we'd get in, here's this attacking, really fun football manager, and then you'd swap him for this really defensive, rugged manager, and then expect. Obviously, it's the opposite way around with them. I don't think he's brilliant. I don't think Ange's brilliant, but I don't know what Forest expected when they went from playing like the most defensive, most solid, deep line to the nutter who has his centre backs on the halfway line, which is his fault, and it's his own fault for not being able to adapt.
It's not even that he necessarily play a high line. He doesn't coach the basics. And Postecoglou, he's like Roberto Martinez. He's literally stood in front of a camera, in front of a reporter, asking him a question, and said, "Yeah, we don't bother practicing set pieces because I don't think they're important." When his teams are shipping set piece goals left, right, and centre every week. I'm not an Ange Postecoglou fan. I don't think we'll be seeing him in the Premier League ever again.
No.
And I'd be stunned if he gets another job in the Premier League. But
it's back to Celtic.
That's one of the maddest appointments that any owner's ever done. That one of the most counterproductive hirings. The only thing he can say in his defence is he's realised what a stupid decision it was and pulled the plug quick. Because there's a lot of owners who, Machiri probably would have been one of these. He did it with Benitez, but he would have just dug his heels in and said, "No, I've hired this guy and I don't care how bad it gets. I'm not sacking him after 5 minutes and making myself look stupid and paying him all this compensation. I'm just going to rip my nose off to spite my face because I'm stubborn enough to think that I'm right." At least he's done the sensible thing and he's just realised, yeah, this was a moment of madness. This, I need to correct this mistake as quickly as I can. Palace did it years ago with Frank de Boer, didn't they? I think they sacked him after 4 games.
6 games, 4. It was
4, yeah, and for all the criticism they got, and poor Frank de Boer, 4 games is not enough time. They hired Roy Hodgson, and Roy Hodgson came in and turned it all around pretty quickly just by doing the basics. So the only thing worse than a mistake is not correcting the mistake quickly. And for as mad as he is, Marinakis, at least he's realised, he's held his hands up and said, "Yeah, that was not a good thing I've done there. Sorry."
Yeah. Emma's mentioned here we play them twice in December, and I have this horrible feeling. It's whenever we play an old manager, it don't matter. Like we could play Coventry in the FA Cup, I expect us to get spanked. It's one of these whenever we play an old manager. You know what I mean? Where if an old player's playing up front against you, you just have that horrible feeling that this ain't going to go well, is it? I do think we should beat them once. At the City ground, it can go either way. But at home, I hope we beat them because I want us to beat most teams at home now at the new ground. I think
new ground's really good. When Sean Dyche comes back to play play against us at the Hill Dickinson, I know a lot of fans don't like him and they're glad he's gone. I hope he doesn't get a stupidly bad reception. I'm not saying people have to clap him. I'm not saying people have to act all grateful towards him. I think if you don't like Sean Dyche, just act indifferent towards him. All this scream, booing him and calling him this and go. And I know some of it's pantomime and people are just having a laugh with it, but I don't think he should get anywhere near the reception that certain other managers have got when they've come back, or certain ex-players, like when it gets really nasty, like when Rooney used to come back with United, or when Barkley came back with Chelsea, or something like that, or there's another high-profile example I can think of. When Barmby came back with Liverpool. I don't want to see anything like that. If you don't like Sean Dyche and you're really glad he's gone and he's not to do with Everton anymore, when he comes back to play against Everton, just ignore him. Turn your nose up at him. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to say, I'm glad you're not important anymore. We don't have to think about you. You're part of the past that we don't think about anymore. I think getting all nasty about it, I think is not called for. I don't think he's Rafa Benitez, who was literally laughing as we were getting battered, or he's like Barkley, or who robbed money off the club, as far as I'm concerned. Stitched us out of 20 million. Dyche came in, did what he wanted, did what we asked him to, and we sent him on his way, and we don't have to think about him anymore. He
did his job, and then on his way. He did what he was expected to do, and then he went off. It's not like he's run around slagging off afterwards.
I've just over the last 6-7 months or so, or however long it's been since he went. It was in January, wasn't it? Early of last season that he went. I've read a lot of fans who I don't agree with at all. Like I said, I don't like him as a person, and I'm very glad he's gone. But I've read people saying he was our worst manager ever, and oh my god, it was worse than it was under Benitez, and it's worse than it was under Roberto Martinez. I don't agree with that. Now, I know we finished higher in the table under Roberto Martinez, but Roberto Martinez had a far better Everton team than Sean Dyche did and got far less out of it. Sean Dyche is nowhere near the Everton managers ex-Everton managers who I have the most dislike
Don't
for.
come close to Rafa.
No, he's not.
No one comes.
Rafa Benitez, I think, was the nadir of this club. The fact that we hired someone who clearly hated the club, hated the fan base, only took the job because it was a found over his house.
Yeah.
Sure, Rafa Benitez is by far, in my opinion, a far less likable person than Sean Dyche. So
worst manager in my lifetime, so 24, 25 years, worst manager we've had.
By far. Sean Dyche doesn't compare to the likes of him and doesn't compare to a few others either. So,
I think a lot of fans forget the context as well, that he goes in, immediately sells our best player from the previous year for a player who wanted to stay as well.
Staff who were just doing their jobs properly and stood up and just basically, it was a power trip. Benitez sacked a load of staff at the club, not because they were rubbish, basically just because he told them what he didn't want to hear, which is, you're going to injure our players with these stupid methods that you're insisting on. So, yeah.
And then it's
he makes me grimace every time I think about him, fat Spanish waiter. Just getting back to the Sean Dyche point, as long as it doesn't affect Everton, I don't care what he's doing. But when he comes back to play against Everton, I'm just going to get on with supporting the team. I'm not going to bear him any minds, and I don't think anyone else should either, really.
Yeah, I think the simple way to put it with Benitez is he came in, bad reputation already with a fan base, didn't seem to care, binned off arguably probably two of our 4 or 5 best players the previous season in Dyche and James Rodriguez, and then he again didn't seem to care, got sacked, thumbs up, took his money and left. I think it's mental that people say this. Dyche came in, did his job, left, cool.
Left the club in a far better state than what he found it. And then isn't doing Liverpool Legends nights now, laughing about it like Benitez is, laughing about the fact that he made Everton crap.
Speaks positively about the club and the fans whenever he's on a podcast. That's what I've seen. So it's like, what else does he want? Do you want him to do? I think it's like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of fans expect us to be higher, and naturally, if you're one of those older fans who saw, a bit of glory.
I think the thing is, a lot of people take their frustrations out of the club, legitimate frustrations. They take it out on whoever the figurehead at the club is, and the figurehead at the club was Dyche at the time, wasn't it? So people were taking out a lot of their frustrations out on Dyche, which he wasn't really at fault for, or stuff that he really couldn't do much about. But yeah, I'm just repeating myself. Like, good luck to him at Forest. I don't care if he stays up or goes down, but for what it's worth, I don't think they'll go down at all. I think he'll get them to 40 points with his eyes shut.
I think they'll finish close at the top half than relegation under him. I think do you know the type of manager he is? Might have a little decent run in the Europa League as well. Don't think they'll win it, but they might have a nice little run under him, which obviously he's local as well, isn't he? Which always helps you. Good run under a local manager, it always helps the morale at the club, doesn't it? So it's one of those.
I don't think it will happen either. But do you know if he wins that Europa League with Nottingham Forest, do you know he'd be the first English manager to win a European competition with an English club since Howard Kendall?
Oh, yeah, he would be. Yeah, because obviously Moyes is Scottish, isn't he?
Moyes is Scottish, yeah. The last English manager to win a European trophy with an English club was Howard Kendall in '85.
Yeah, couple of us, yeah. Yeah, you think about that.
Roy Hodgson got to the final with Fulham, but lost. Yeah, and all the other managers who won were all Scottish, yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of it. Yeah, none from the 90s are all that won it. Yeah, that's mental now that I think about it, because old Leeds manager, I feel like he was Irish, wasn't he? Early 2000s, who got to semi-final at Champions League.
David O'Leary.
Yeah, he was Irish, wasn't
he? Yeah, Irish. Obviously, Sir Martin O'Neill's Irish, got to the final with Celtic,
Yeah. Well, there you go. And now that we've said that, that's 100% happening. But to get onto the last little bit of the last little segment of this video, Spurs on Sunday, what are your thoughts?
Spurs have got better since they sacked off that mad Aussie Thomas Frank's a really good manager, but Spurs are a bit like Everton at the moment, where they look really good one week and you think, right, they're going to kick on and do something this season, and then they'll go and play really poorly and not get a result at all the next week. So they're in a state of flux, aren't they, like we are? So it would be similar to the Crystal Palace game, where going in, I think a point here would be a really good result, but we might just be able to sneak this. You know, if we just don't let them score early, if we don't let them settle, and we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, then we might be able to, we might be able to rattle these and get to them, because we've got some good players, but I still think Spurs are a bit soft. That's the way. I think they're easily rattled. I think they easily kind of feel sorry for themselves. So if you're able to score early past Spurs and sort of maybe bully them physically, then I think they're one of these teams that will, by 60, 70 minutes, if they're losing, might just think, you know what, that's it for today. We'll just get out of here alive and go home back to London. So I'd take a point if you'd offered me Spurs now, especially, but I think there's a result there for us. I really do. I think Spurs are vulnerable. I think that's the good way to describe Spurs at the minute. Vulnerable.
Yeah, it's at home as well. Yeah, because they're not the best defensively, are they? And weirdly, I think this is a game someone like Barry could get some out of, because I don't know. There's Romero, but then I don't see Van der Ven as a big physical centre back. He's quick and really good at getting back, but I think he'll start Beto, because I think if someone just sticks a shoulder into him, that Romero screams Grealish making him get a red card.
Yeah, that's another point about them. They're like Chelsea, and they lose their head, don't they? Like they get stupid yellows and stupid reds a lot. Yeah, they're a very ill-disciplined team with Spurs. Yeah, as I said, it's easy to get in their heads, I think. Out. So hopefully Moyes is a bit wily and can tell the likes of Grealish and Ndiaye, if you can wind this lot up, wind them up.
Yeah, so they don't even have Romero as well as the best centre-back, so it'll be that Danzo or...
Solanke fit for them? Because Solanke...
I don't think he starts now, does he?
No, well, I had Solanke in my fantasy team start the season, and he had a stinker the first few weeks. And
against Leeds...
But he got injured, I think, before the last international break. I don't know if he's fit again now, but Solanke, we'll bring him up because it's just, if he's fit again and he starts, then, it's just nailed on. He's going to start his season against Everton, isn't it? Because he's just every time I've watched it so far.
It was that Tell, the young lad from Bayern, who they bought last game against Leeds away.
He's a good player. He's a very good player.
Yeah. There was no... Do you know what I think will trouble us against these? Spurs have so many really quick players.
They do, yeah.
They can just turn you... Like that Kudus he's going to tear Mikalenko to bits.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the centre-backs. That Xavi Simons, again, he's one where he's nailed on. This is where he starts his season, gets his big goal from outside the box against us. And I think that's the problem, is they've got just so much power and pace going
That's
forward.
What I'm saying. Like, I think you need to get to them early. You need to unsettle them. You need to put your foot on them a little bit, because if they get any sort of encouragement, if they feel like they can knock the ball around and they've got the freedom of the pitch and that they're able to drag players out of position, then it will click for them, and they've got a lot of players who can hurt you. So they're one of those teams where you can beat them 3-0 or they can beat you 3-0 and neither result shock you.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I think we need to have Grealish and Dyche and Dewsbury all told dribble at those defensive midfielders, because if it's that Bentancur and Polinia, both of them love cards. They're absolutely addicted to cards. So it's one of those where if you can all of a sudden get both of those defensive midfielders on a yellow by half time,
they're not going to want to cross the halfway line, are they? If they're on buttons, are they? Yeah, they're not going to want to get forward and support the offensive players. Yeah. Yeah,
I think it's one of those, like you said, I can't really predict because it could go either way. It could be a comfortable 2-0 win for us, for them. They could batter us. We could squeak out a 90th minute winner. I honestly can't think of where this is going to go.
Yeah, I would take a draw if you'd offered it to me, because I do think that they're on the right track. They're like us, where it's not perfect at the moment, but the green shoots of recovery are definitely there for them. And I think they've got themselves a very good manager in Thomas Frank. So
a lot of good players.
My head says it will be a 1-1, but my heart says it might be like the Palace game, where they dominate us for a period of the game, but we just manage to take our chances and squeak it out. So I'd take a result, but I think a 2-1 is definitely on the cards for Everton. I'd be very disappointed if we just get beat 3-0 and we're not in the game at all. I know I've been saying how good they are and how they can make you look ordinary, but we're supposed to be a work in progress on ourselves. There shouldn't be any game this season really where we're just completely, knocked out of it and we're not in it at all. The worst performance of the season by far was Leeds on the opening day, and that first 45 against Palace. They're the only times this season would have looked at Everton and thought, oh my God, what is going on here? We can't even string a pass together. We shouldn't be having performances like that anymore. So I'm hoping that even if we're finding it hard, we're still very much in the game.
If we can have a first half like we did against City, I could genuinely see us having 3 past these at half time.
Hope so.
Because that's without Grealish as well, you know what I mean? That's a first half like that without our best player, you know. So it's one of those where I'm not going to get too excited. I think we can win it. I think we should be able to keep it competitive. And it's one of those where it's nice, isn't it? Because I know Spurs had a really bad season last season, but they look good this season. They look back to the top six-ish team that they were. Now they've got the right manager in place. And, it's nice to see us. We competed with Liverpool in the second half, competed with City in the first half. Again, at the end of the day, it's a good sign of progress if we can keep competing with these teams that are meant to be around the top of the table.
Everyone raves over, yeah.
Yeah, so it's exactly. We ended Crystal Palace longest unbeaten streak in the league at that time. Which is typical. I feel bad for them because it's like I'm trying to think of what our bogey team is, but I saw so many Palace fans before the game going, "Yeah, this is where it happens." It's these every time.
Feels like have we beaten Tottenham a lot over the last few years? I know we beat them under Carlo. Have we beaten them post-COVID?
I don't know. Spurs.
Did we beat them? Did we beat them last year under Ange? I can't remember if we did or not.
I hope we beat them under Ange last year. It's.
I know. We didn't. It was one of the first games of last season was when we went down there and got beat 3-0, and I think that was when the fans and the players had started getting into each other in the train station.
We beat them. Yeah, so we beat them 3-2 in January.
I do remember this now. We were 3-0 up and they got it back to 3-2.
Yeah.
I do remember that now. Yeah.
Absolutely. So 4-0, then 2-2. Then so Spurs have got what it seems to be over the past 4 or 5 years is it's been a draw or Spurs win.
Yeah, I think we've only beat them maybe once or twice in the last 10 meetings. We haven't beat them very much, so hopefully we can change that.
Beat Spurs in the league twice since 2013.
So yeah, literally, we beat them twice in 12 years, which is. I know we've not been great over the last few years, and Spurs have been really good. They've had Pochettino during that time, but
away win under Carlo, and then. But to be fair, that is because Harry Kane used to practically score every game against us. He has 16 goals against us.
Oh God, bloody hell!
So it's one of those, yeah. But
yeah, it'll be an entertaining game. I don't think we'll have a snooze fest. Tottenham like to go in and attack teams. We don't sit in anymore, do we? And even though maybe that would be the most effective way to counter certain teams that come and play us, but fans are not going to put up with us sitting in against many teams at Bramley Moor, are we? We're going to want to be the front foot team. So there'll be goals in that Tottenham game. So it's a Sunday game, isn't it? At 4:30.
4.
Well, I know it's the Sunday game, so it'll be on the telly as well. So I think the players will be fired up for it.
Yeah, that's it. I just don't think this team can play sit-back defensive anymore when you've got 2 wingers like Dyche and Grealish. It's just not going to happen because they just going to get the ball and be like, we're going forward, and then naturally more players are going to follow on. But yeah, we'll see where things goes. There will, of course, probably be a match preview, starting 11 show, all that stuff for the game in the days before. But that is going to be all for this live stream. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for joining me, Paul.
Cheers, mate. No problem.
And we will see you all for the next video and our live stream that we're on. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.